What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the Global Citizen. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you're subscribed. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much for joining us. Now, something crazy just happened last night, guys. So for those of you that are just joining us, in my previous videos, I have spoken about the first step that you need to take in order to get your Canadian permanent residency through express entry. And that step was to get your ECA, or Educational Credential Assessment. So in that video, I did mention that I went with an organization called ICAS, and I sent them my documents months ago, probably like 2 or so months ago. And to this very day, they actually haven't started evaluating my case file yet. They actually haven't started. So just last week, I actually sort of got fed up about it. And I went online, did some research, and I ended up finding out that another organization that offers the same service, so this is World Educational Services, or WES. So they offer the same service, and apparently at the time their turnover times were a lot quicker than everyone else. They're basically a bunch of bodies that are able to do your educational credential assessment for you in order to send to Canadian government. And the way it works is that there are 5 of them, and from those 5 you pick whichever one you want. I believe the pricing is very similar between the 5 of them. So initially I just eeny meeny miny mowed it, went with the one that first came to mind. And it turns out that you probably want to avoid all the other ones, and the one you really want to go for is WES, because WES has some really quick processing times. To put that into perspective, I sent my documents to ICAS, as I mentioned before, months ago, and to this very day, they actually haven't even started evaluating my case file. And I find that very strange, because somewhere along the line, I sent them physical documents because that's what they asked for. And then somewhere along the line, I had to send them an email because I was concerned, because I hadn't heard anything from them. So I sent them an email asking them, hey, what's going on? Out of nowhere, they basically told me that, oh, well, it turns out that for the university that you went to, you haven't actually used the right method of sending your documents. I'm like, well, what does that mean? No one told me that before. And then it's a whole long process, and ICAS is not the fastest. Just putting that out there. If you want to do your ECA in the quickest way possible, you want to go for WES. And last week I basically started a new application with WES, and just last night they sent me my ECA report, which is unbelievable, guys, because I sent them my documents on the 11th of August and today's the 18th. So it's actually the 17th if you think about it, because they sent those documents in the early hours of the night last night. And for those of you that think I'm kidding, I'm actually not. I'll show you proof. So basically I woke up in the middle of the night to this notification, which I thought was, well, look, they started the evaluation process or the report process or whatever. No big deal. This is probably the step that takes the longest time. And then to my surprise, a few hours after that, at about 3 a.m., they sent me another email basically telling me that it was done. It was all done. I could pick up I could download my report, and they'd actually physically sent my ECA to all the organizations that I'd asked for them to send it to. So, long story short here, guys, if you want to get your educational credential assessment done in the shortest amount of time possible, so really, basically, if you just want to fast track it as quickly as possible, you want to go for WES. But there is a catch though. So basically, it turns out that a lot of these educational credential assessment bodies, they have this new system. I don't know if it's new or not, but they have this system where they can actually get or receive your educational documents. So by educational documents, what am I talking about? Well, this is basically just generic stuff like your transcripts, your actual degree itself, and just the package that you received when you graduated. It turns out that they've now started supporting a digital system where you can actually send those documents out to them through a system or a database that they can then access and get original digital copies, is basically what they call them. And that changes everything, because all of a sudden you don't have to go and order, actual physical transcripts and then, courier them to Canada or wherever the body is through DHL and, all that stuff. That takes ages. No one wants to wait for that, right? And to be able to do that, though, there is a catch, though, because your university basically has to support this method of official document delivery through online databases. And if they don't do that, then unfortunately you're going to be stuck with the old way of doing it, which is getting your transcripts, getting your degree documents, getting photocopies. And actually for some of those documents, they won't accept copies. So they'll want them to be original documentation from the university that is sealed as well. So in other words, you're not meant to tamper with it. It just has to come straight from the institution, which is basically it's an archaic way of doing it. And look, it's 2022. There should be quicker ways of doing this stuff. And luckily for me, it turns out that my university, Curtin University, actually does have a database where they have all your transcripts, they have your degree documents, they have your letters of completion and all that stuff. And I actually didn't know about this. And ICAS was the organization that told me about it, albeit they did tell me about it late, because they told me after I'd already sent documents that they had asked for, which I found very weird. I wasn't very happy with the service, because I found that very strange, because they could have just told me that from the start, But anyway, long story short, you want to go for WES, and you want to go for digital delivery of official documentation, because if you do it that way, trust me guys, you will be able to get your ECA in basically a week. I sent in my documents on the 11th of August. They sent me my ECA report last night, and it was early in the morning, so actually we could call that yesterday. So that was basically, 6 days from the 11th to the 17th. 6 days is what it took to send me my ECA report. ICAS, on the other hand, to this day, they still haven't started processing my educational credential assessment. And this really just gives you an idea of how different the turnover times for these organizational bodies are. Because I did a little more digging and a little more research, and it turns out that ICAS sometimes actually takes up to 7 months, because their estimate at the moment is 30 weeks, which is just unbelievable. Unbelievable that they can take 7 months, nearly 7 months, to deliver a report that another organization can deliver in just 6 days. That is how you can fast track your educational credential assessment. Don't even bother wasting time on all the other ones. Just go for WES. WES is the best. They are the quickest, and I'm really happy with the service that they provided. Just a quick disclaimer. So, as mentioned before in my previous videos, I am not an immigration agent. However, I am a person like yourself that is pursuing Canadian permanent residency through express entry, and I'll be doing this all by myself. I've done a lot of research on the internet through people that have done something similar. I've also consulted with immigration agents. I've basically come to the conclusion that the best way for me to move forward would be to pursue my Canadian PR on my own, because it's actually not that difficult if you think about it. And on this channel, we'll be highlighting in all the ways that you can do that. This is obviously sort of like an update to that. Just last week, I did send in an application with WES as well. Yeah, it turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made, because they actually delivered that report to me in 6 days, which is amazing. And now we can move on to the rest of the steps. So stay tuned, guys. If you're interested in Canadian permanent residency, stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to The Global Citizen. I'll be posting the next steps that I believe you should basically take in order to get your Canadian PR within the next coming days or weeks. Make sure you don't miss that. Make sure when you're subscribed, hit that bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. This is some very informative stuff, and this is stuff that can help you save thousands of dollars, because at the end of the day, immigration agents, look, they want you to believe that this process is difficult and impossible for you to do on your own, and they want you to believe that you need a professional to do it for you. But ultimately, when you really think about it, all an immigration agent does for you. I mean, look, they do have a good degree of knowledge in terms of how these programs work, but all they're really doing is just asking you to accumulate document XYZ and then give it to them. And then they're the ones that will then go onto the website and then upload those documents on your behalf and then press submit on your behalf. All stuff that you can easily do all by yourself and save yourself thousands of dollars. So that's it from me, guys. This is the Global Citizen. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll catch you folks in the next one.